is what they're saying, from the balcony of his hotel room in Argentina. I haven't really done any videos because there's a lot of, again, the conspiracy theories swirl, all sorts of things are being said. So I don't want to get involved in that. At the end of the day, this lad is dead, and that it's awful, and his family must be going through hell. And he seems like, I feel for Liam because he had everything, didn't he? He's the lad who had everything but was unhappy, and he was unhappy, and that is himself. He admitted that himself. He has been in stages where he thought about ending it all, and he did say in the interview that in interviews that he did, that he had thought about that had crossed his mind. But it seems like that's not what happened, even though there's been speculation about that. Did he do it to himself? Did somebody else do it to him? And it seems like now they're saying it was an accident. It was an accident. He may well have been unconscious when he fell. He was certainly under the influence of drink and drugs. There have been there's certainly been one other incident where he went out on a balcony. Maybe sort of trouble is when you're under the influence of drink and drugs, or a combination. And apparently he was also on depression medication. That's a lethal cocktail, isn't it? To be stood on a balcony, a high-rise balcony. But anyway, so let's have a look at the news article that I want to talk about. I'll show you some photos. I think we all know Liam Payne. He was famous. I'm not even, you did used to watch the X Factor years ago when he won it with One Direction. That was probably one of the last series. The last series I watched of the X Factor was with James Arthur. When he won. I love James Arthur. I think he's the best thing that ever came out of the X Factor. I didn't like the way he was treated. Anyway, he's come back. He's another one with mental health issues, but he's come back from the wilderness because he was sort of consigned to this is the problem, isn't it? Fame builds you up and then it casts you down, and not everybody comes back from being cast down. James Arthur has, but he's younger than Liam. There's a long way to go. You have to get through the whole of your life. If you've had mental health issues at any point in your life, or even if you haven't had them, you never know when they might pop up again, or even for the first time. A psychologist I know was telling me that everybody has the propensity for mental illness. It's not, it can be aggravated by factors. It can be brought on by bereavement, or there are genetic factors. There are so many different factors, but it's almost like cancer, because it can be activated. Mental health problems can be activated by trauma. You could go through your whole life with no problems with mental health issues, and then maybe something traumatic happens, or you start drinking, or you start taking drugs, or something happens, something catastrophic happens in your life, and boom, there you are. You may never have had any mental health issues your whole life, and you can't think that it's safe from it because you get older. It could be getting older that triggers your mental health issues. Maybe you can't cope with getting older, because although the alternative is not very nice to getting older, but getting old is not very nice either. It brings all its own problems like illness and loss. Life is a difficult journey for everybody, young or old. So mental health issues, no one is safe from them. And even doesn't matter how much money you've got, doesn't matter how famous you are, doesn't matter what family you've got around you, and or even how much you're loved, because once you start off with mental health issues, all those things sort of don't matter, do they? Look at people like Whitney Houston, then the drugs take over, or how many famous people end up going down a rocky road, or their children do. Look at the Presley family. The grandson of Elvis Presley, he took his own life. Anyway, it's endless, isn't it? So I think one thing we can all agree on is that mental health can affect anyone. It doesn't matter their social standing, it doesn't matter how much money they've got in the bank, it doesn't matter their age, it doesn't matter their sex. Everybody suffers from time to time, or could potentially suffer from mental health issues. So poor Liam, he struggled, but he was a survivor. He struggled with drug addiction, he struggled with mental health issues, and at times he seemed to be coming through it, and then he seemed to relapse again. So that's the other problem when you're famous, or even if you're not famous, but if you're still living in that environment where you've been exposed to drugs, or whatever, whether you're famous or not, if you're living in a council estate in somewhere where there's a lot of drugs, and you get involved you go down that route, or you go down the crime route, and then you want to escape from it, you've got to really leave that complete area, because if you're still living in that same area, mixing with the same people, etc., you're probably going to find it difficult to get out of it. Whereas if you're famous, you're still going to be surrounded by all those hangers on, aren't you? And in the music industry, there's always somebody who'll be offering to buy you drugs or make some money out of you, or whatever. So it's very difficult to escape. Even, you can go to a bloody detox or whatever, but you've still got to come back to your normal life at some point, haven't you? Okay, let's find this article about. So what I wanted to talk about in particular, just about Liam, as I said, I don't want to get involved in any conspiracy theories and things, but 3 people have been charged in connection with his death. So that's big, isn't it? I think it is anyway. Let's have a look at this article. Let me just make sure, see if anybody else. So 3 people charged in connection with the death of the One Direction star, according to the prosecutor's office. And they're saying that he was not fully conscious, or was experiencing a state of noticeable decrease or loss of consciousness at the time of his fall. Why do they keep putting this thing on? Don't want to see about Queen Camilla. She's not even a queen anyway. So, I can't just try and need to. Anyway, let me just read it out to you. So 3 people have been charged in connection with the death of One Direction star Liam Payne in Argentina. He died after he fell from a 3rd-floor balcony at the Casa Sur Hotel in Buenos Aires on the 16th of October. The prosecutor ordered the arrest of the 3 and has charged one with abandonment of a person followed by death and supplying drugs. So this suspect apparently accompanied the artist on a daily basis during his stay in the Argentinian capital. Now, I don't think they've been named. According to a statement from the Office of Prosecutor Andres Esteban Madrea, a hotel employee and a 3rd person were charged with supplying drugs. So it reminds me a little bit of Matthew Perry, the Friends star, because there's more than one way to kill someone, isn't there? Not necessarily that you have to kill them yourself, but if you're supplying them with things that substances that kill them, and the first guy not looking after someone that probably he was supposed to look after. So I don't know if this is his bodyguard they're talking about, or a friend of his, but charged with abandonment of a person followed by death. So they've ruled out self-harm. So they're saying, so it's not, he didn't do it to himself, according to the prosecutor's office. They said there's nothing to indicate any third party involvement in his death, and they ruled out self-harm. They said that he did not adopt a reflex posture to protect himself from the fall, meaning it can be inferred he may have fallen in a state of semi or total unconsciousness. So now, bear in mind, this is what the prosecutor's office is saying. I know there'll be some of you out there be going, no, that can't have happened, or blah. You know, people will have their own theories. I'm just reading to you what the prosecutor says. Liam Payne was not fully conscious or was experiencing a state of notable decrease or loss of consciousness at the time of the fall, and it added that it would rule out the possibility of a conscious or voluntary act, as in the state he was in, he did not know what he was doing, nor could he understand it. The results of the toxicology tests revealed that in the moments before his death, he had traces of alcohol, cocaine, and a prescription antidepressant in his body. So, you know, that's a lethal combination, isn't it? Anyway, the investigation is continuing. Some of Liam's devices are still being analysed. I don't know how many devices he had. He probably had quite a few phones if he was ordering drugs and stuff like that. It said the prosecutor's office had received several dozen testimonies, analysed more than 800 hours of video from security cameras and public roads, and had conducted a forensic extraction of the contents of Liam Payne's phone. And it said that the investigation revealed at least 4 supplies of narcotics. And according to the post-mortem examination, Liam died from multiple injuries and internal and external bleeding. Oh, poor guy. Argentine investigators found what appeared to be narcotics and alcohol strewn around broken objects and furniture in Liam's hotel room, leading the public prosecution to surmise he had suffered a substance abuse induced breakdown around the time of his fall. 9 raids were also ordered on properties in Buenos Aires. And so apparently new music featuring vocals by Liam has had its release date postponed. US singer and songwriter Sam Pounds, who collaborated with Liam on Do No Wrong, previously said the track would be out on the 1st of November, but he has since said its release had been postponed because it's not time yet. And last month, Liam's girlfriend of 2 years, Kate Cassidy, revealed that the couple had planned on getting married next year. The 25-year-old had been in Argentina with Liam until 2 days before his death. So I just wanted to let you know that it's been said, you know, what the prosecution in Buenos Aires are saying is 3 people have been charged in connection with his death. However, it's ironic really, because they charged 3 people, but they say there's no third party involvement, and also they've ruled out self-harm. So I wonder what verdict I presume they're having an inquest. I don't know. And I presume there'll be an inquest in the UK as well. You know, these are all a bit mysterious, aren't they? But yeah, I just wanted to let you know what was going on so far in Liam's very sad case. Now, I believe he's been repatriated, or I think he has already been repatriated. So his body was returned to Britain. So that's what I wanted to tell you about Liam Payne. And as I say, I will do some more in-depth videos when we know more, when maybe it's finalised, you know, when the not post-mortem, when the inquest is finished and when we know more. But I just thought I would talk to you about that. It's something I wanted to talk about. I thought you might find interesting too.